following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lord. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, Rob Phillips, and Kyle Yeomans.
A little bit earlier than expected for everybody here on a Monday edition of Talking Cowboys here from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star in Frisco, as we've got plenty to break down. Just one more preseason game on the docket for the 2021 Dallas Cowboys, and we've got 3 in the books. All 3 have been losses. And we're going to talk about that coming up here in just a couple of moments. So glad you're with us on Talking Cowboys alongside professional football analyst Heckma Harrison. We've got resident Super Bowl champion Isaiah Stanback and the great Rob Phillips, Cowboys insider. I'm Kyle Yeomans, and gentlemen, well, let's take a step back for a little bit.
The great Rob P.
Oh, of course.
The great
P. Island.
Yeah. Let's take a step back
P
and
did
give
that.
the props to
Shout
the
out
props
to
is due.
Oh, hey, listen,
you.
tearjerker,
Great
bro.
job.
I'm sorry,
Your allergies acted up too?
He had me at the.
Thanks, man.
I had to double back cry.
Oh, you double, okay. I thought my allergies were tripping.
Nah.
But you double backed.
I had to,
Man,
yeah, that was so good.
It was a little dusty. Okay.
Yeah. The HEPA filter is not working that great in my house, apparently. No, you did a great job, right? That was great.
We're, of course,
great
talking about the Darren Woodson documentary that we alluded to on Thursday, A Path to Safety, The Deep Blue. Rob Phillips was a huge hand in putting that together. Great shout out to Madison as well, who edited it. Fantastic job. Darren loved it, right? I mean, that's what he said to you?
Yeah, he told Nick he really enjoyed it. Keith Tucker, his best friend, who's featured
That part was
prominently
really
in there,
cool.
reached out. I think he enjoyed it. So that's always important. You want to make sure that Isaiah and I were just talking. You don't want to disrespect anybody. You don't want to misrepresent anybody's life. That's something you really take seriously. So I'm glad. I hope people watch it. I hope people enjoyed it out there.
Yeah, if you missed it on Saturday, you can go watch it right now on demand. It's on DallasCowboys.com. You can go find it there in the video section. It's also on YouTube, correct?
On YouTube, Facebook, the website, anywhere you want to go, check it out.
So plenty of places. The Cowboys Now app as well, which you can download on your Fire, your Roku. You can watch it on the TV screen like you would any other documentary, and it really is worth your time. It is fantastic. Very well done again, Rob Phillips.
Thanks
on that,
Rob,
and everybody that was involved with A Path to Safety. You got a couple more, I think one more documentary that's coming out in the next week or 2 weeks or so.
2 more.
2 more?
Yeah.
So there's one over draft stories. It's called War Stories, and it's about like inside draft news.
Oh, yeah.
Really, really cool.
I got a
very cool
sneak peek at that trailer, man. It's
the guy
it's
that's
good.
really
It's
cool.
The
good.
guy that's doing the VO on that is sick.
Yeah,
I heard he was.
and I've heard it's
Just saying.
sultry actually.
Who might that be?
I don't know. Just check it out. 2 weeks. It's all good.
We're gonna pause in like 2 weeks from the podcast and give Heckma mad props for what his voice sounds like on the documentary. What's the other one that's coming out?
Jesse Holly.
Jay
that's
Holly.
right.
Yeah, with some really cool.
That's gonna be really cool.
That's dope.
Cool life and career story for him too.
That's awesome.
Really cool.
2 already out. We had The Path to Safety, and then also the Drew Pearson documentary,
Which was
as
awesome,
well.
Which was awesome.
Super fantastic. So, lots to catch up on. If you want to binge Dallas Cowboys, you can watch Talking Cowboys. You can see our interview with Darren Woodson. That was last Thursday. But let's talk about going on what we saw binge-watching wise on Saturday. And that was the Cowboys and the Houston Texans as the Cowboys fall 20-14. They are now 0-3 in the preseason. Rob, you would like to get a couple of wins. You really would. Just to kind of get the ball rolling. Is there any concern about just, the wheels falling off, even though it's not even the preseason? Not really wheels falling off. That's a little dramatic. That's doomsday sounding.
You mean because they haven't won a preseason game yet?
Yeah. I mean, is there any worry about what's going on right now?
No, not for me. I mean, Dak hasn't played.
Cool.
He hasn't had a chance to get in there and give him a touchdown drive, you would hope. Cooper Rush now leads the quarterbacks in terms of touchdown passes in preseason with 2 on Saturday night, and we had a discussion about the backup quarterback situation. the other day. And I brought it up too. I mean, to me, there's still some questions on the offense in terms of your backup quarterback. Who's your backup quarterback? Who's your swing tackle? Who's your backup center? I don't know if those have been fully addressed. I mean, I think your backup center is probably Connor Williams, and you're going to have to live with some growing pains there. But those other two positions, I don't know what the answer is yet. And backup quarterback got more interesting coming out of Saturday night.
Definitely did. Garrett Gilbert went 3 of 5. He saw what? 2 series, I guess? 2 series?
2 series.
My goodness. Yeah, I mean, he was in there quick. Is that something to take note in, Isaiah?
Absolutely.
Especially in a quote-unquote dress rehearsal?
Yeah, he got snatched out the game. We're just going to say it just about as blatantly as we can say it.
You think so?
Yeah, he got snatched.
Because he got the hook.
That was straight Sandman, night at the Apollo, get off the stage because you're messing up. And we're not about to stink up this whole game. So there's a thing to it. You kind of alluded to it at the very beginning there. Things were kind of getting off the rails there for a second. It was ugly. And, in that game 3 in the preseason is the most important preseason game. I think we talked about that last week as well. So you can't afford to let this thing get off the rails in the preseason game early. You just can't, because then you're going to have 4 quarters of just bad football. So they got him up out of there relatively quickly, and they got it back on the rails when Rush came in the game.
Mike McCarthy said, he was asked that question, did you take him out sooner than you planned? And he said, we wanted to balance out the reps with Cooper Rush. So that's the head coaches. But the thing about it is, to your point, it's like, has this felt like a real backup competition within the roster until Saturday night? Not so much. I feel like it's more Garrett Gilbert competing against anybody else that might come available. And Cooper Rush has played pretty well, but every first-team rep has gone to Garrett Gilbert.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there really hasn't been any fluctuation.
Do you guys feel that changed this week?
I think so.
I think it definitely
did.
You think so?
Yeah, I really felt bad for Garrett Gilbert, like you said, getting the hook, and I think it was a sack that did it for him. He was patting that ball and just didn't have any pocket awareness. But
that's been the case all
absolutely,
preseason.
Absolutely. And you've also pointed out, the way that the receivers interact with him and knowing whether the ball is going to get completed or not. But I thought that when Rush came in, things, like you said, got back on the rails, and you saw the offense move more efficiently. I was really happy to see Kellen Moore's offense work and click the way that it did. Ralston, guys like that, the fullback. I love this guy. He's going to be my favorite. I'm telling you right now, if he makes the team. I just love what the bringing the fullback into play. It's like a lost art, right? But the things that we've been talking about, red zone efficiency and things like that, we saw Kellen Moore put together a few drives, and that was all Rush doing that. So, and I wrote about it during the OTAs about this position was Gary Gilbert's to lose. Well, if you're doing the underwear Olympics and you don't have to worry about pressure, you can just let that thing rip. He did a really good job of that, but the clock is just not going off in his head. He's patting the ball.
And to that point, heck, some of the things that Garrett Gilbert was struggling with, right, in terms of holding onto the ball, in terms of getting to his reads and making quick decisions, Rush came in and it was a direct comparison. Now he had the same situations where nobody was open. There was quote unquote coverage sacks, and Rush took off. Right, got a first down. Slid, hurry up, get whatever yardage you can, pop up and get back in the huddle. Right, get into your first, second, third read sometimes. Right, making those quick decisions. Whenever instead of throwing the ball back and across coverage, what did Rush do? He came in and threw the ball away. Right, he had those opportunities to make those same mistakes that Gilbert was making. Now, whether it had been he had the opportunity to see that right live and in action and say, when I get my opportunity, I'm not going to do the same thing, or he just naturally was making better decisions. Either way, instinctively, he was doing better than Gilbert was, and I think that was a direct comparison from the time that Gilbert left the game to the time Rush came in.
What is the hesitancy that you're seeing with Gilbert not trusting what he's seeing? Because in the NFL, those windows are very small. And most quarterbacks are throwing guys open. Instead of waiting for them to be open.
There's an anticipation. So what you're touching base on right now is quarterback. You can't wait in this league. You can't wait till somebody is actually open.
Yeah.
You can't wait if Heckman Harrison's running a route. He's running a 10-yard out route. I can't wait for Heckman to put his right foot in the ground and plant to go open up to the left side, and then wait for him to turn his head, look at me, show his hands, and say, hey, I want the ball. Because that window, by the time I release the ball to the time it gets in your hands, that window has closed. So what am I doing? I am anticipating that you're going to be open. I see your leverage on the defensive back or whatever it may be, and I know that you're going to be open, and I trust that because we have that symmetry where I'm going to release the ball, you come out your break, ball's going to be there on time, boom. That's not happening happening with Gary Gilbert. He's questioning that, whether that's his relationship with the receivers, whether that's a timing thing, or whether he's just waiting for literally somebody just to come wide open. Either way, it's not working out for him. And that's okay, because that's what happens in a preseason. However, you have to turn it up and say, guess what? I can't throw the ball right now. Run on that ball. And when he got strip sacked right there, he had 15, 20 yards of open space in front of him. I don't care if you're Tom Brady. Go run with them gimpy legs or whatever you got, and then they left it in the tank, and go get you some yards, right? And go get you some yards. So that's all the coaches want to see, is see you make good, informed decisions. It doesn't matter if it's a big play. Move the chains.
That has happened a couple times in the red zone in the first couple games as well. And usually what you just said, like you see it with younger quarterbacks, and he hasn't played a lot in the NFL, but he's been around a while. I think you see it with Dinucci, where he's not trusting what he sees fast enough, and that's normal for a young quarterback. And obviously he struggled in the game with 3 interceptions.
And they're polar opposites, right? So Gary Gilbert holds the ball forever, and Dinucci just throws it up. Right, sometimes he's just trying to make something happen. Yeah. So they're polar opposites as well. So it's kind of the dichotomy of these guys. It's kind of crazy because you got the two extremes, then you got Rush that kind of comes in the middle and just like, that's what you're doing wrong. That's what you're doing wrong. Okay, I'm gonna play it in the middle, right? And position myself strategically to see how this thing shakes down.
I thought Cooper Rush looked like a guy that's been in Kellen Moore's system for 4 years.
Yeah,
he had to stop with the Giants, but other than that, he just looks like he's got command of the system.
He's comfortable.
And a fan actually tweeted at me a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago and said, if you combine Cooper Rush's skill set with what Dinucci does well, like that might be your number 2 quarterback, because Dinucci's got the arm talent, but Cooper seems maybe most comfortable of all the 3 guys with the offense. But we'll see.
And they responded to him.
But has your stance changed on the backup quarterback being on this roster?
No.
Okay.
No, backup quarterback, in my eyes, is still not on this roster.
Still not on it.
And I still think that the Cowboys need to, and I don't want to get in put me in the principal's house. I'm not a GM. However, my suggestion would be you're going to have to make a big trade. You're going to have to make a big trade this week before the preseason game.
I don't know that the Cowboys know this for certain. I don't think they do for certain. I mean, Mike was asked after the game I wrote about this, has he seen enough evidence that Gilbert or Rush will be the number 2 guy? Clarence Hill asked that question. He said, well, we have one more week and we're going to need it. That was his answer. So, the Cowboys have made no secret, to you guys' point, like they're going to keep their options open. They worked out 2 guys in the offseason. They're not married to the backup quarterback situation. The problem is who's out there, what can you fit under the cap, all that stuff.
But Pete, when you pay the kind of money that you paid your number 1 guy, you don't want to hear anything about. Well, here we are talking about the number 2.
But you have
and you just paid your number 1 guy.
But you have to, though, right?
Truck. Oh, yeah,
but you have to. You got to prepare yourself for the worst case scenario, because last year was the worst case scenario. So if you go into this year again underneath those same, now last year was a doggone F5 tornado. Everything happened. Not only was it a bad storm, but the whole doggone town got wiped out, right?
But that's the thing, is if it wasn't a tornado, if it wasn't everything in front of the quarterback got wiped out along with the quarterback,
I think we were in good position.
You would have felt okay with Andy Dalton at the helm.
I would have. Yes.
I think everybody did, but everything went wrong around.
Yeah, everything went
wrong. It was not a good look regardless. I kind of want to go back to Cooper Rush.
Sure.
You want to add something real quick?
No, I was thinking about this the other day. Go ahead. I'll save it. It's kind of it's a little winding.
Okay, we'll save it for a second. But I want to go back to Cooper Rush, because we're talking about the confidence, the comfortableness of what he was able to do in Kellen Moore's offense. I've seen it, I think, over the last couple of weeks, and Rob, you could probably attest to this. That has grown exponentially and visibly from Cooper Rush ever since day 1 in Oxnard till this point. I mean, you have seen the confidence continue to grow, because he came in, didn't look great at the beginning, and now he has since then kind of taken every step along the way to get back to where he was, I think, before he even went, or before he was not on the roster anymore. Do you see that same kind of deal with Cooper Rush and the confidence that's continuing to grow?
Yeah, and I asked him after the game about his comfort level in Kellen's offense. He definitely has that. And the other thing, too, is I forgot that he had a couple things injury-wise that he's been dealing with since they got to Oxnard. He had some back spasms early, and he had a shoulder thing that came out of the Canton game. So he's been a little banged up, and maybe it's a matter of being healthy, because let me say this. I will say Garrett Gilbert, over the last month, and you've seen it, you're out there, he's had some good practices. He's done well. He's had some good stretches where he's played well in that number 1 offense deal. But is it enough? Is it enough for them to stop looking? Cooper Rush looked like the number 2 quarterback on Saturday night based on production. He really did.
Cooper Rush played like someone that knew his job was on the line. You know, I mean, these guys are not blind to the fact that if we don't get this done this game or the next, I don't put enough on tape, I may not be here. The Cowboys are not. They're going to get this number 2 guy with or without me. I would rather it be with. And he played like that. He had the offense moving like that. And the one thing that he didn't do, didn't turn over the ball, didn't make costly mistakes. And that's the thing from an organizational standpoint that you want to see. Just don't lose it for us. I mean, we want you to make plays, but and be the proverbial bus driver. Can you do that? If we have our full litany of guys here, can you bus drive us to a victory? Because that's all you want from your number 2 quarterback.
If you guys are wearing your GM hats right now, what move would you do? Would you stay with one of these guys, or are you going out and trying to make a big trade?
I would trade. I think I'm on your boat.
Yep.
From what I've seen, I think you're definitely looking around to see what you can do to potentially upgrade. I think you have to do that as your job.
The closer you get to these last cuts, you're starting to see more teams need quarterbacks.
Sure.
So like your window of opportunity, as we talk about windows, right? Window of opportunity is really dwindling, right? In terms of the level of competition that you're going to have for those remaining quarterbacks. There's only a handful of them out there that are probably realistically attainable. What are you going to do?
That's the part that scares me, though, because if indeed there is a higher price a higher need on the quarterbacks, there will be a higher price. You're going to see premiums paid out for backup quarterbacks because there are teams that have stashed them.
Correct.
There are teams with multiple backup quarterbacks. I mean, look at the Bills, look at the Bears. Yeah. I mean, there are multiple teams that could say, all right, come on, give me your best offer. Let's figure this out. I don't know how much the Cowboys would have to offer without giving up some kind of comfortable level elsewhere. That's my biggest
question.
Because
backups are not at a premium. And when you talk about
backup quarterback is, though.
But you talk about teams like Chicago, let's say San Francisco, they have 2 young quarterbacks that are kind of making headway in the preseason. Is the future now for those teams? And you start, and I'm not going to say any names and get in trouble, but I'm just saying, like, there's those situations where teams like the Cowboys would go and say, look, we want to present this trade for your guy, vice versa. Yeah. Are those teams, knowing that you're in a desperate situation, are they hoarding those because we want to bleed you as dry as we possibly can?
They're not just going to give them to you.
The answer is yes. And I think the perfect scenario for the Cowboys, obviously, is analyzing their roster and seeing where are we deepest. Right? Where are we deepest? And hopefully where we're deepest, that's the same area that this team that has backups.
Where are we deepest, Isaiah?
I
think we have the most competition at defensive back right now. I think that's where
that doesn't mean you're deepest, though.
In terms of competition level, yes. Because I think we have the most talent in terms of depth, right? If we had one our first string and our second string go down, do we still have guys that we feel we can play with? And the answer is yes.
Sure. You don't have that top guy, that top echelon guy.
You don't have a bunch of
absolutely
dudes, right? You don't have a all pro whatever, but you have some very competitive guys that go 3 deep easily, right? So I think you're hoping that one of those teams that have a 3 deep quarterback situation needs that same position that you're deep in, because you're now in a position to deal one of those guys to fit their need while they fit your need, and that takes the advantage away.
The one thing I will say about this, and I'll pass it to you, Rob, is if you're trying to go get, let's just throw Andy Dalton. No, I can't even say specific names. Let's just say you're going to go try and get a quarterback. You're not going to trade a Jordan Lewis or Anthony Brown for a starting, I guess, caliber backup quarterback.
Depends on where your number 1 is. And we don't know that. We don't know the extent of that. If it is a month thing, then you that's what you said. We talked about this before. Then you see a drastic move like that, and that'll tell you everything you need to know.
And they've done that. I mean, they've thrown draft picks at when Romo broke his collarbone in 2015. They went and got Matt Castle. They'll throw a pick out there, and you can do that. Now,
what did that take? Do you remember?
Oh, it was like a 5th maybe,
for
and
Matt
swapping
Castle?
7th or something like that.
But there's teams calling. I'm seeing there's teams calling for offensive linemen.
Oh yeah, always.
So I mean, it really just depends on the needs of the team that you're talking to.
Yeah.
You just hope that if you are going to make that move, that they are in need of a position that you're willing to deal.
I do think to your point, Heck, because you kind of led me where I was going. It's important to kind of bring it back to QB1 and just clear it that he's okay. He's fine. He went through his pregame throwing session. It was 50-something throws. That's what they wanted to do.
52 to be exact.
52. He looked really good. No issues. Everything we've heard, no issues. I know there's been reports out there suggesting he won't
what
be
was up with that?
I don't think,
what was that about?
I didn't really hear about it till I got to the stadium. It was it ESPN? Was it a
Rappaport thing?
Rappaport or Schefter?
Why does he do that, man? Like he drops a bump.
I don't even know if it was like an official source report. He may have said something.
It was a screenshot. Or wait, are you talking about Dan Quinn? I was reading up.
No, I'm saying this is something maybe Adam Schefter had said about Dak. Conversation, and it got picked up.
He may not be ready for the first game,
or he may not be 100% all year.
I agreed with his statement. Well, I didn't disagree with his statement. His statement was alluding to what we've talked about in the past. Not only now is he dealing with trying to come back from an ankle, but now he's dealing with overcoming a shoulder. So did he ever get to 100%? I think was Chef's question. Like, did he ever even have a chance to get to 100%? So if he never even had a chance to get to 100% from the ankle because he had to deal with the shoulder, now is he ready going into the season? Is he at 100% going into the season? Not is he ready? Is he 100%?
I think the ankle's good.
Yep.
I know the ankle's good. Mm-hmm. I think he's in good shape with where the shoulder is right now. And it sounds like he's going to do more this week in practice.
Right, has to.
Not going to play in this game Sunday. They're just going to get him ready for the opener. I think this discussion is more about the importance of having that depth, because you mentioned Andy Dalton, and this is where I was going earlier. Is I think some fans say, well, if Dak goes down, you're screwed anyway, right? You're not going to win the Super Bowl. But I think the counterpoint to that is 2008, Romo breaks his pinky finger in Arizona, misses 3 games. They just needed 3 games out of their backup quarterback to just kind of keep them afloat. And they lost 2 or 3, and they lost the last week of the season when and they got blown out by Philly and missed the playoffs in a year that they were supposed to be contending for the Super Bowl.
You're bringing back
bad
fan trauma right now.
I'm sorry.
That is
Silver Linings Playbook game, that Philly 44-6 game, and but that's why you got to feel good about your backup quarterback. Hopefully it's not the last 11 weeks like Dak last year, but maybe it's 3 games that maybe something pops up. And you got to make sure in a tight division race you're okay. That's why it's important. Mm-hmm. But one more thing about Cooper Rush.
Okay.
Your point, he does look more comfortable, and maybe the Cowboys must be seeing that. For them to decide, hey, let's even this out a little bit. Let's see him behind the first offensive line. They clearly have seen enough in practice to give him that opportunity.
And that was a good sign to see our ones in, to see Tyron Smith, to see Leal Collins. We've seen him on preseason, but to see Zach Martin, just to see the full, those 5 guys together. And I thought it was important for them to get some run. And man, when they were in, you could tell the difference in the offense, the way that it flowed, not the turnovers and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
So I've got a crazy hypothetical for you guys before we go to break.
Oh, I love the tease.
So I'm going to should I save it? I'm going to save it for the next break. I've got a hypothetical around the quarterback position. We're going to pick 3 weeks this season. I want you to tell me what the record would be with each of the 3 quarterbacks we currently have on the roster behind Dak Prescott when we return here on Talkin Cowboys.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys. and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Varilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
The final Cowboys preseason game of the year is this Sunday, August 29th at AT&T Stadium. Don't miss your last chance to see the Cowboys prepare for the 2021 season. A limited number of single games tickets are on sale now. Get yours today at dallascowboys.com/tickets. Once again, final preseason game, and then the Cowboys go on the road for the first 2 weeks of the year. So between August 29th and September 27th, this is your last chance to see the Cowboys at home. So you might as well stick it out. You might as well come to AT&T Stadium and be a part of that Jaguars final preseason game.
Are you doing sideline? This
I will. Yeah,
dog. You're gonna take somebody's job here pretty soon, boy.
Thank you.
Somebody
Loved it.
tell me.
Loved it.
I'm telling you,
dude. I'm just super sidetracked. I've had so much fun doing the sideline stuff, and
you were active
of course
last game,
that's
too.
not like a comfort level for me. Like that's all new for me specifically. But I've learned so much. It's been
can't
really
even
cool.
go to dinner with this guy anymore, man. People stopping us, and
I mean, between
oh my God, you're Kyle.
between the documentaries, the sideline voiceovers, I don't know what the heck. I mean,
wait, now
can we even do
Don't
it
you-
Tostitos
no.
Plaza
No, no, no.
anymore?
Who
Can
is-
we
no,
even
no, no.
do that anymore?
Who was in the booth
Wow.
last week? Who was in the booth?
That
was a mute.
You were there. You were there, and you talked, and you made great points.
There's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can do. But yeah, hey, the Talkin' Cowboys crew is on the ascension all the way through. Chris,
Hey, DE, take that, DE. Our whole crew is elevating over here. You know what I'm saying? I heard you talking about your
We
crew
haven't
over there.
peaked yet.
You don't want to see us.
Yeah, we haven't peaked yet.
We're not even in that fight.
I would love that if that happened. If Chris just got in our ear and said, "Don't have him come down," I would love it if we got him. Just come on down.
Let Hang and fight that fight. I don't want to fight that fight.
All right, so I've got 3 games that I've picked out on the Cowboys schedule. I'm going to give you a bye week beforehand too. So bye week 7, and then weeks 8, 9, and 10 at Minnesota, and then at home against Denver, at home against Atlanta. I want you to tell me the record out of those 3 games. If you had to keep the sail alive, or I guess the boat afloat. If you had to keep the boat afloat with a backup quarterback, something happens. It's a 3-week deal for Dak Prescott.
You're going to tell us which quarterback?
Yeah, and then you're going to tell me what the record would be. You want to start?
Mm-mm.
Okay, Isaiah.
I'm going 1 and 2 with all 3.
All 3 of them?
Well, no, with the first 2 quarterbacks. Dinucci, we're going 0-3.
So it doesn't really matter either way. You're going 1 and 2. So which one would be the win? It's Minnesota, Denver, and Atlanta.
It's going to be. It's going to have to be Atlanta.
Okay, so that third week.
Yeah.
So you would lose the first 2, and then the third week would be a win with Cooper Rush and Garrett Gilbert. Yeah. Okay, let's do Cooper Rush, Rob.
I think that's fair. Like 1 and 2. I mean, because like you're looking at the quarterback matchup, right? We're talking Minnesota, Denver, and Atlanta. Well, Minnesota and Atlanta, man. I mean, that's an edge at quarterback if Dak Prescott's not in there. So I mean, that's the most important position. I'd have to lean that way.
Would you say what about Ben Dinucci for you?
I think it'd be hard pressed to win a game with Ben. He's not. I don't think he's ready to be in that position. No. I think he's got a chance to still be a quarterback in this league. Last night notwithstanding, but he's not competing to be the backup this year. He's competing for a spot to develop.
Yes.
I look at it that way. Mm-hmm. And so we saw last year he wasn't ready. I don't think he'd be ready this year either, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I feel like I'm in Tostitos Plaza right now. Right?
Oh, you gonna go through?
No, I'm not gonna do that. But I would say I'm right there with you. I'm gonna go 1 and 2 for Garrett Gilbert, and I would, and close on that Denver game. I just think that Minnesota, I think they would confuse them defensively with all the tape that they have on them right now. So that's the reason why I'm saying that. But not that I think Denver's that much better. But Atlanta's a dumpster fire this year anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But 1-2. I'm going to be 1-2, and I just think Dinucci wouldn't have a chance at all.
So it's the same thing as Isaiah, 1-2 for Rush and Gilbert?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you feel?
I actually agree completely.
3-0 for Dinucci. I know you really love.
I love Dinucci, man.
I loved his potential.
Yeah. It's Dinucci for me.
Yeah.
I like his attitude. I like his confidence.
He
I like
does
his
have some
attitude.
confidence.
Yeah.
Well, maybe a little too much, but it's hard.
You gotta
it's
believe in
hard
yourself.
either way. It's true.
You do, or nobody else.
Let's talk about Dinucci, man, here for a second.
That's a nice watch, Kyle.
Thank you. Are you trying to change the subject?
No, I just like your
don't wanna
watch.
talk
It's
about
very
it?
nice.
Oh, thank you. It's hiding at watch tan right now. With Ben Dinucci, do you still like his potential, Isaiah?
I like his potential, but I hate that word.
I know you do hate that word.
I hate that word because potential doesn't mean that you're actually going to attain it. It just means it's possible. It's possible. Everybody has potential. So how does that distinguish you from anybody else in the world? You're supposed to be the top 1% in the whole world.
Outside of his potential, what is the value to this team right now for him?
Practice squad?
Okay.
Yeah.
Development, what Rob was talking about?
Yeah.
Can he get you a good look from a practice squad standpoint?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
scout team.
One thing Mike McCarthy said after the game was using his legs. He's got that element of his game. They use some of that redraw stuff, and he can do that. And that helps you during the week, especially depending on who you're matching up with. I think that's the best situation for him. I mean, I'd be surprised, honestly, if they kept these three quarterbacks, all three of them on the roster. I just think you could go heavier at another position. We talked about some of these other spots that they're pretty deep at. That's how I feel about it.
He's definitely developing. He's fighting for, like you said, a spot on the practice squad to further develop his career as an NFL quarterback. I think he has potential. There's certain things. I mean, besides the 3 turnovers, which were awful turnovers, he did make some plays. He did make some throws where you zip some things in. You're like, wow, that's a good throw. He kept the offense moving at certain points in the game. But just like every young quarterback, it's just an accident waiting to happen. And he fell victim to it, and you can't fault him or blame him. Every young quarterback goes through those growing pains, and he's not immune to them. You got to think about this guy. His first start in the NFL was Sunday night in Philadelphia. Was it Sunday or Thursday? Yes,
it was a Sunday.
Sunday night, and that's a rough way to go. You know, and you know, luckily for him, and there's been so many comparisons thrown around. I've heard like on the broadcast, you know, is he more Romo? Is he Favre? Because the gunslinger mentality is always the label that's put on young quarterbacks that just throw it all around the park, but. You know, again, before you start putting all that out there,
was that discussion on the?
It was quickly.
Somebody texted me that, and I thought they were joking.
No, so I think Babe kind of threw it out there, but you know, Moose kind of doused a little water on it and cool it off.
I could get it from the gunslinger standpoint, I guess, right? Because he does. I mean, he'll, like Isaiah said, he's not afraid to rip it.
I feel like he's a guy that once he settles down into a system, I feel like he would be a very confident player.
Okay.
I really do. I really feel like once he grasps the offense and once he has confidence in that system, timing, all that kind of stuff with his receivers, I feel like he would develop relatively quickly.
When can he settle down, though? Because
nobody knows that.
I know nobody would know, but that's the thing that's really discouraging to me is because we saw it last year against Philadelphia. Had to come in, spot duty. Nobody blames him for the Philadelphia game. I don't think, because it was a terrible situation.
No.
You had 0 offseason, you're a rookie quarterback, you're coming from a small school. The pace of play was just not there for Ben Dinucci last year. You expected to maybe see an uptick. Has there been an uptick? I don't think there has. I think, if anything, it's even kind of leveled off a little bit.
I think more what you're looking for is better decision making. Mm-hmm. And I think that's more so important than it is the physical, right? Because his arm motion, that's not going to change. Sure. It's just not. It's too late in his life for that to change. So you deal with it. He finds ways to create windows with his legs and all those other methods. However, his decision-making doesn't seem to have improved. I mean, you look at his game, he went 14 for 19 with 3 interceptions, so he was really 17 for 19, right? But 3 of those went to the wrong people. So, I mean, 14 for 19, if you took the interceptions away, 14 for 19 for 120, that's not bad.
It's a pretty good
That's not bad
line.
at all, right? So It's the decision making. We're not talking about how he had a really good pass completion percentage. We're talking about the bad decisions that resulted in interceptions. So he has to figure out a way to take those off the table. If he takes those off the table, he improves his position on rosters.
Well, he also then sent one touchdown, right? I mean,
in Arizona?
Yeah. No, he threw a touchdown pass.
In Arizona.
No, to the other team.
He did.
He
did, Chris.
If you're saying that.
So he's got
a touchdown pass.
It's true.
Dang it, Chris.
It's truth.
Dang it.
Chris came in there.
Beam saved the argument. There it is. Where you going with that?
It was a pick six to Lonnie Johnson for those who haven't watched the game yet. But
yeah, that's where I stand.
I feel like I'm grilling you here, but you are the former quarterback at the table. But how do you teach the decision making? Can you teach decision making?
Absolutely. I think he's learning that. I don't believe that he's not learning how to make. That's just decisions. It's just at the end of the day, he has to make the decision not to make that throw. You know, I mean, like for a long time when I was playing quarterback, I had to make the decision not to try to make the big play in the field. Just like throw it away. Like that was a learning process for me. Like, no, I want to make a play. I'm looking for anybody and everybody. Heck, go deep, go that way, go 60 yards. I don't care. I'm gonna throw it. If I hit you, good. If I don't hit you, it's at least an incompletion. Mm-hmm. He's not to the point where he can make it just an incompletion. He's to the point where it's like big play or interception. He has to get to the point where it's either big play or guess what? Maybe just throw it in the ground or just throw it away.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot for you to get to that point. But there's going to be one time where he does it in the game. He's going to be like, that was easier than I thought.
Why haven't I done this?
Why haven't I done this the whole time? And when that clicks for him, I think he'll start making huge jumps.
Parcells called it impulse throws.
Yeah.
When Romo, and I'm not comparing him directly to Romo because Dave got me in trouble on Twitter. He quoted me
Dave
by saying,
gets everybody in trouble on Twitter.
Romo needed some time too, you know. And I was joking. I wasn't making a direct comparison. That's not fair to Ben. But he had that touchdown drive in Arizona that was impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, not Cooper Rush did it the other night. Did it last night. Saturday night and got away with it. An impulse throw that should have been picked off.
Yes.
Garrett Gilbert's thrown it into traffic at least twice in these three games. You could be around the league and still, get yourself in trouble doing that. So for him, it is the decision making. It's seeing things faster, seeing the field develop faster. That's where Dak, I think, to me, is really his game is just taken off because he's seen everything now. And sometimes it takes just being on the field. You have to have the talent to do it as well. And I think for Ben, too, like he's not the tallest quarterback. And I think sometimes it looks like maybe he's struggling a little bit to see over things, too.
Yeah, that's a myth, though.
Think so?
Yeah, I know so. The whole seeing over the line thing is just not a thing.
Because guys are looking in passing lanes.
You're looking through lanes. So that's when the footwork comes into it. I think Kyler Murray he's totally debunking everything that everybody's ever said about the height thing. Drew Brees has totally debunked it. You go with Doug Flutie. Everybody has. Oh, there's been a lot of freaking Russell Wilson. I mean, these guys are not tall. So you're seeing through lanes. It just really comes down to him. Just hey, don't do that. Don't do that, young fella. Like just don't. It's not worth it. Throw it away. You have your legs. Use your legs. Nobody's gonna yell at you for running 3 yards and sliding. That's much better than throwing the ball up in the air.
But to P's point, that's exactly what you had even alluded to before. It's just having the vision to see when a guy is going to be open, to throw him open. That maturity in his decision-making process, he just hadn't got there. We hadn't seen him get to that point, and therefore, that's why you're getting those errant throws.
Yeah, but like even myself as a young quarterback, I had to learn to sit in the pocket. Because when I wasn't confident with timing and when I wasn't confident with throwing just sitting back there in the pocket, I took off. Yeah. I was gone. Right? I was gone. And I was considered a running quarterback. But I bet you what, we were getting a first down. We weren't having negative yardage. I wasn't throwing an interception. As a matter of fact, I think I have the lowest interception percentage in my school's history because I was not going to make a bad throw. I did not want to do that. So I had to learn to sit back and trust my guys and throw the ball and guess what? Throw the ball away and not try to run people over and slide. And so he has to get there. He has to get there, and unfortunately, he's just not there yet. But I feel like at some point in time, if he continues to receive opportunities, he will. That light bulb will come on for him.
Hopefully so for Ben Dinucci. And by the way, for those of you at home with your Talkin Cowboys bingo cards, if you were waiting on a Doug Flutie reference to be mentioned, you can now cross off your bingo card today because I'm sure that was probably on there. All right. When we come back, there's some other things we saw on Saturday, not all of which were on the offensive side of the football. With great challenges come great opportunity. We're going to talk about how we saw that from the defense when we come back on Talkin Cowboys.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Whether you're watching from home or you're cheering in the stands with Essilor lenses, you can see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and see what Essilor can do for you. See more, do more Essilor on Talkin' Cowboys.
There it is.
Official spokesperson.
You have gotten us all glasses and lenses. Oh, you keep that up.
Mm-hmm. Rob P's going to get his soon, right?
Yes.
P,
yes.
P, are you going to go?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm catching up on my sleep, man. I just got back into town. I'll get there.
That's true.
I'll get there.
Well, we're going to get it all
got a baby.
Out.
Oh, man.
You do. You've got a lot of stuff going on for sure. So does the Cowboys defense this past offseason. By the way, Heckma Harrison, Isaiah Stanback, Rob Phillips, and Kyle Yeomans here on Talkin' Cowboys. If you're just joining us, we just talked a lot about the offense, talked a lot about the backup quarterback position and just how concerning it is for this Cowboys organization. The concern going into the offseason was the defense. And so far, I've seen a turnaround. At least in my opinion. I want to get y'all's opinion. But there was a weird instance. And weird shouldn't be a thing anymore because of 2020 now into 2021 by any means. But no Dan Quinn or Carlos Watkins, both of which leaving the stadium out of precaution in terms of contact tracing for COVID-19. And so Joe Witt Jr. had to call the plays on Saturday, really a last-minute thing. But this is a guy who Coach McCarthy, Coach Quinn both have a lot of confidence in. What did you see from the defense on Saturday? Because even if the offense was pitter-pattering, I thought the defense showed a lot of positives.
Yeah, and it's not enough to say about the job that Joe Witt Jr. did. And, you know, when you talk about 2020 and the whole newness of weird that we're experiencing, when I heard that, you know, Quinn was out, I was like, wow, this can't happen during the regular season. So whatever happens, let's see what Joe Witt does. And it reminded me that Joe Witt was one of the candidates when we were looking for a defensive coordinator as well. So it just talks about how dynamic this coaching staff is. And I'm not going to go out there too far with some of the superstars that we have on this coaching staff, but I just felt like Joe Witt did an awesome job with dialing it up. And, man, I don't know what are we a 3-4? Are we a 4-3?
It's a hybrid defense officially.
It's a hybrid all over the place. And I just thought that, first of all, just the way that they are using Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is everywhere. He's standing in the A gap. He's out on the edge. He's everywhere on the field. And just some of the blitzes that Witt was dialing up, I loved them. I love the pressure from the safety position. I love some of the stunting that we saw with Osi Odigizua and Micah. And I think you pointed that out in a tweet, how successful that was. And look, Micah Parsons is everywhere. He is all over the place. And this kid is. If you thought he was good in the draft, well, at least I did. Yeah, of course I thought he was good, but he is a lot more. He is a lot. We're getting a lot more in his ability to blitz it and just cover all of the weaknesses that people thought that he had. He doesn't have any, I guess, right now in preseason. But from a defensive standpoint, Kyle, I'm with you. There's so much that I'm seeing from guys like Dorrance Armstrong, even Bradley Anae.
Dude, Bradley Anae had himself a game, didn't he?
Bradley Anae.
Setting that edge.
Setting that edge. Now, he did at one point, he made a tackle and he did a split. Did y'all see that?
Yeah, he almost blew me out.
Yeah, that scared me a little bit because
scary.
Had Heckma done a split like that on the field, you care flighted me up out of there too. But I'm just telling you.
You definitely would have had a new talent.
But all in all, man, I was definitely pleased with the job. And the last thing is, we talked P about the offense last year. I think the Cowboys defense was number one at points off of turnovers, meaning points scored against them on turnovers. You saw when they did have the turnover, they gave up the touchdown initially, but then in the second half had a goal line stance and only gave up a field goal, which I thought was good as well. And that's, to me, that was the changing to see the defense hold up like that.
I think for the first time this preseason, we've seen the culture of our defense show up. The new culture, the Dan Quinn culture, which is fast and furious,
yes,
right,
sir.
and relentless. I think we saw that, and regardless of who was in the game, these guys were flying around.
I like that fast. It's Dom Toretto defense.
Man, that's it. That's it. Yeah, exactly.
It's all about family.
Exactly. It's all about family.
It's all about family.
But these guys were relentless. I mean, you saw guys all over the place. You just alluded to the different fronts and stunts and things that they brought. Obviously, that comes from the defensive coordinator. He did a great job stepping in for Quinn. But the players showed up, man. Bradley Anae, Micah Parsons. You start talking about. It was good to see Malik Hooker in there. It was good to see who else was it? Oh, Jabril Cox. That's somebody I had my eye on, and he was flying around. Yep. I mean, you think about that's going to be your second wave that's your second lineup coming in as your linebackers. So I mean, it was really good to see these guys, and they were having fun. They were having fun. And we talked about this all offseason. These guys were having fun, running around, hitting, and just celebrating just a good time.
Go hit him with the C word. Go hit him with the C word. What is it?
Culture. All right. It showed up. It showed up. And I'm really hoping that was not just a one-time appearance and that is the new identity for this defense.
So I'm looking at some of the PFF grades just for fun, just to kind of see where everybody kind of fell in. Micah Parsons scored a 90 plus. Jabril Cox had an 82. He was the third best. Who was the second best player on that list? If you had to guess, he's a defensive end. Wasn't Dorrance Armstrong. It was Mr. Randy Gregory.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was
yes, sir.
Yeah.
94 is the truth.
He was coming off the ball, man.
With the front seven, I mean, and you guys, credit to both of you in terms of the idea to revamp the front seven, because at least at the moment it looks like it's working. I mean, they are revamped. I mean, Randy Gregory coming back, having a full offseason, looks like it continues on. He even said it. There's a lot of pressure on him. There's a lot of pressure on that defensive line. Micah Parsons certainly adds to that mix as well. But how much improved have you seen from that side of the football?
It's night and day. Right
from
now,
last year, because
from last year, I mean, now you have to compare it. This is preseason. Let's not get crazy,
still,
okay?
This
is preseason, and we're playing against the Houston Texans. Okay, so let's make sure we temper our expectations right correctly. However, what they put on film is what they put on film, and they were flying around and they were being dominant. These are still professional athletes that they're playing against. Now, it's not Tampa Bay's front. Let's get that very clear. Now, but it is very encouraging to see these guys thriving, seemingly thriving within this new system and building confidence, because that's really what pro athletes need. and it kind of sounds silly. Everybody's like, well, you're a pro athlete. You shouldn't need to feel that. No, you do. You do. Every level, you need to feel good about what you're doing. Oh, yeah. You need to feel good about your assignment. You need to feel good about where you fit in the scheme and how impactful can you be on the field. Osa Odigizua, he did a great job. He was jumping off the screen. You know, you look at guys that are jumping off the screen. This dude was in the backfield
75.
often now. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, often. And with energy. Not only was he making plays, but you saw guys after the play like being live. That's what I'm used to seeing in a successful Dan Quinn system.
They got to figure out that D-tackle deal because Neville's going to come back, you would hope, in the next couple months. Before that, okay, so Brent Urban started the game with Osa. Osa looks like he's going to play.
No,
he's going to could be an impact player week one. You get that out of a third-round draft pick, man. That's a really good draft pick. So that's really encouraging. They worked Justin Hamilton in there, so they got to figure that out. But yeah, the front seven, man. Mike McCarthy spoke after the game. He said, I don't want to disrespect any of my former teams, but I have not seen a linebacker group with this much depth and talent that we've seen. And I think he's right. I mean, that sub package where they've got Micah and Keanu Neal together, that's a really fun group to get in terms of fast, physical. You ever seen Mighty Ducks 2? It kind of reminds me of Fulton and Dean Portman just going at it, you know? And like that's a really good sub package there. The Texans, okay, look, Zeke said it last week that they want this offense to be the number one offense in the league. I don't think Houston's going to compete for that. You know, they're not a very talented offense top to bottom. But so keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. But look, anytime you hold somebody to 0 for 10 on third down, like that is saying something. And one of them I think was a drop in the first quarter, but that was impressive. And you mentioned the quick change in the first quarter. They didn't respond to that great. I mean, they gave up some runs there in that first drive, and you kind of thought, man, that's kind of looks a little like last year. But they did a better job overall, and it was 3.2 yards a carry for the game Houston had. So overall, I mean, yeah, that was an impressive performance. They just look comfortable, like you said. They're changing things up. They are blitzing, which is some cool blitz packages they got.
They're coming,
but I don't see a lot of busts either. The communication seems to be pretty good, top to bottom. So.
No, I love that, and I love what you were talking about as far as the linebacker group because, man, all of a sudden there are a lot of decisions that have to be made there as well because what are you going to do once you see your rookie Jabril Cox take the reins in that position? He plays really well in pass coverage. That's what got him drafted, how superior he was there. Now he's showing you things in the running game as well. Also, blitzing. He came on a blitz, and Thompson got credit for it, but that was all because of Jabril Cox and what he did. And so what do you do now with Leighton? What do you do now with Jalen? Guys that are making money, trying to make that big money that are now second-tier, third-tier guys when they're afterthoughts when you start talking about what they do as far as in those sub-packages because Keanu Neal is – man, he is a general when he is out there. And you can see that the way that the guys respect him, and that's based off of his actions on the field. Right. And he's putting that tape out there. Also, man, at the safety position, if you didn't have questions before, you have bigger questions now because Jerron Kearse,
he had a good game.
Yeah. You're talking about questions in a good way.
Yeah, no. Yeah, in a great way.
Great way. And I think that's going to be a discussion Wednesday. We talked about the DB room last week. Let's try and talk about that on Wednesday a little bit because I want to get deeper into that, and we've got to get out of the way because there is another podcast after us. It's Players Lounge. Just got to get started.
The Players.
So you can tune into that on DallasCowboys.com. But we'll be here on Wednesday, 11:20, I believe, is the start time. So it's a little bit off. We have to work around Coach McCarthy's schedule, so we'll make sure and do that. But we will be right back here. SWBC Mortgage Studios on Wednesday. Do yourself a favor. Go check out A Path to Safety, the Deep Blue on DallasCowboys.com, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. It's everywhere.
Thanks,
do yourself a favor. It's fantastic. For Rob Phillips, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, and the great Chris Beam in the back, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Thanks for listening. So long from Talkin Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!